12 scams to avoid in 2025 and beyond. And this is very important, especially for the older people that you may have in your family, because a lot of times they fall victim or believe some of the things that they see in the form of these scams. So it's important for you to understand it. So if they ask you certain questions, you know how to answer it. But feel free to share this with somebody else who you feel may benefit. This comes directly from the IRS website. It's vetted. Anybody has access to it. I just want to go over it and then add some insight perspective so you can better understand it. That being said, that's what they call the Dirty Dozen tax scams for 2025. IRS warns taxpayers to watch out for dangerous threats. So the IRS today announced an annual Dirty Dozen list of tax scams for 2025 with a warning for taxpayers, businesses, tax professionals to watch out for common schemes that threaten their tax and financial information, ranging from email schemes to misleading tax credits. Many of the Dirty Dozen items peak during filing season as people prepare their tax returns. In reality, these scams can occur throughout the year as fraudsters look for ways to steal money, personal information, and data. Data is like gold right now. Data is currency. So a lot of these platforms, the reason why they make so much money is because they have so much data. Facebook, they have so much data. All of these platforms that you use and we willingly kind of share our life or information with, they have a lot of data. So data has power and value because the more data a person has, the more they have the ability to get advertisers to pay more money because they know more about you than you realize. And now the marketing dollars can flow in because they know how to target you in a specific way. But on another note, data can be used for bad. And this is what this is. It's about staying away from people using your data and positioning you to have them to take what's yours in the form of accounts, etc. So let's keep going. The IRS annual Dirty Dozen campaign lists 12 scams and schemes that threaten taxpayers. While the Dirty Dozen is not a legal document or formal listing of agency enforcement priorities, the education effort is designed to raise awareness and protect taxpayers and tax pros from common tax schemes and scams. So basically, they're just trying to let people know what's going on. Scammers, they're relentless, and they use the guise of tax season to try tricking taxpayers into falling into a variety of traps. These red flags can lead to everything from identity theft to being misled into claiming tax credits for which they are not entitled, said, Terry Lemons. IRS Communications Senior Advisor for more than 2 decades, the IRS has highlighted the Dirty Dozen through far-reach communication and education campaigns as part of wider effort by the agency to protect taxpayers from being scammed. So this is something they do on an annual basis. So this is an updated version of that. So the Dirty Dozen list often has caution taxpayers about tax-related identity theft. So let's get into the list. So last year, the tax community launched a related effort called the Coalition Against Scam and Scheme Threats, following a surge in social media-fueled scams because they see what's going on. And as a part of these continuing efforts to protect taxpayers against constantly evolving scams, the 2025 IRS Dirty Dozen list highlights the following 12 pervasive threats. What are they? So, email phishing scams. What is that? So, the IRS continues to see a barrage of email and text scams targeting taxpayers and others. Taxpayers and tax professionals should be alert to fake communications from entities posing as legitimate organizations in tax and financial communities. So, phishing basically an email sent by fraudsters claiming to come from the IRS. Stay away from that. If it doesn't have irs.gov as the ending handle, and you got to know how to read it to make sure they didn't just put some stuff in there that looks like it came from the IRS, you got to be able to understand the difference. The email lures the victim into the scam with a variety of ruses, such as enticing victims with a phony tax refund or threatening them with false legal or criminal charges for tax fraud. So be mindful of those type of phishing scams. Smishing. This is a text or smartphone message where scammers often use alarming language such as your account has now been put on hold, unusual activity report, with a bogus solutions link to restore the recipient's account. The promise of unexpected tax refund is another potential tactic used by scam artists. Be mindful. So as a reminder, never click on any unsolicited communication claiming to be from the IRS, as it may have malware and may also be a way for malicious hackers to load ransomware that keeps the legitimate user from accessing the systems and file. These links, these people who know what they're doing, it's crazy. Be mindful, because a link can lead down a path of destruction of certain things. So that being said, let's keep going. Bad social media advice. This is considered to be a scam as well. So another growing concern in 2025 continues to involve incorrect tax information on social media. A lot of people just tell people different things and loopholes. And I know this in the credit world as well. They have different people doing different things that's scammy on another level. False identity theft. claims, claiming that they're a victim of sex trafficking, all kind of stuff that people will do. And in the tax world, it's no different. So be mindful of the information that's being presented. Make sure you're vetting it and understand that any tax laws have been pretty much put in position or are available publicly, and you can locate it in the IRS code. So make sure you understand and not taking any advice. But these bad advices can potentially lead to identity theft and tax problems. Social media platforms routinely circulate inaccurate or misleading tax information, including on TikTok, where people share widely inaccurate tax advice. Some involve urging people to misuse common tax documents like the Form W-2. So understanding how to properly use these things, which if you're going to use these things, the IRS has made tools available for doing it the right way. So the IRS and the CAS warn people not to fall for these scams and urge them to follow trusted social media advice from the IRS, tax professionals, and other reputable sources. This is why I'm coming directly to the source, which is IRS. I'm not making any of this stuff up. I'm going directly to the source, incorporating my perspective, but also my experience in the world of taxes and things that I've endeavored in terms of learning it, applying it, and now having the ability to teach it to others, or at least point them in the right direction of some experts that can help them with their tax situation. So, for example, a person who hasn't filed their taxes, group of tax experts is available to you just by clicking the link that's in the description. Let's keep going. So, IRS individual online account help from scammers. Swindlers can pose as helpful third party and offer help create a taxpayer's IRS individual account at the irs.gov. So, is anybody posing to act like they're helping you create the account? No, that's a no-go. You create the account yourself. So in reality, no help is needed, and the agency offers tips on how to sign up. That way you avoid scams. The individual online account provides taxpayers with valuable personal tax information. So watch out, third parties make these offers and will try to steal the taxpayer's personal information, try to submit fraudulent tax returns in the victim's name to get a big refund. So don't fall for that. Fake charities. Bogus charities are a problem that can intensify whenever a crisis or natural disaster strikes. Scammers set up these fake organizations, take advantage of the people's generosity, and they seek money and personal information which can be used to further exploit victims through identity theft. Listen, it's a lot of fake charities out here described as a real cause, a real movement. Then when you follow the paper trail, follow the money, you realize that it was a scam. You realize that they didn't have your best interests at heart. You realize that they went and bought mansions and things of that nature because they played on your emotions. So taxpayers who give money or goods to charities might be able to claim a deduction on their federal tax return if they itemize the deductions, but charitable donations only count if they go to a qualified tax-exempt organization recognized by the IRS. Be mindful. False fuel tax credit claims. So a major concern during the past year involved taxpayers who were misled into believing they were eligible for fuel tax credit. The credit is meant for off-highway business and farming use and is not available for most taxpayers. However, unscrupulous tax return preparers and promoters, include people on social media, continue enticing taxpayers into inflating their refunds by erroneously claiming the credit. So this is something that I looked into and I was like, hold on. This could be good. A fuel tax credit. Then I realized, oh, this is more so for the farming industry, the off-highway businesses, those who are driving tractors and things of that nature. That's for them. So I had to look into it because it was shared with me. Yeah, you could use the fuel tax credit. And I'm like, fuel tax credit? I've been taking tax deductions in the form of writing off my mileage, business mileage, for years. But that's available to anybody who has a business and they're operating and using their vehicle for business purposes, whether you're a sole proprietor or you have, you structured it in a tax or you protected it through like an LLC or things of that nature. But even a sole proprietorship, just using your social security number can benefit from the mileage tax deduction. The fuel tax credit is totally different. You got to look into it. Don't just take what somebody says online, which many people do, just because it got high views. And a lot of people are like, yep, I'm doing that. I'm taking action. Did no due diligence, no looking into it. And now they find themselves at the detriment of that advice. Very important. Credits for sick leave and family leave. So this specialized credit is available for self-employed individuals for 2020, 2021 during the pandemic. The credit is not available for later tax years. I remember this credit. The IRS has seen repeated instances where taxpayers are using the Form 7202, credits for sick leave and family leave for certain self-employed individuals, to incorrectly claim credit based on income earned as an employee and not as a self-employed individual. So specifically to self-employed, somebody who works for themselves. In many cases, that could be a sole proprietorship, like what I just said. Also, be mindful of bogus self-employment tax credit. So social media advice continues to circulate about non-existent self-employment tax credit. That's misleading taxpayers into filing false claims. Promoters market it as a way for self-employed people and gig workers to get big payments for the COVID-19 pandemic period, similar to misleading marketing around employee retention credit. There's an inaccurate information being circulated that suggests many people qualify for the tax credit and payments of up to $32,000 when they actually do not. In reality, the underlying credit being referred to in social media is not called the self-employment tax credit. It is much more limited and technical credit called the credits for sick leave and family leave. Many people simply do not qualify for these credits, and the IRS is closely reviewing claims coming in under this provision, so taxpayers filing claims do so at their own risk. And a lot of tax preparers are getting hit and targeted because they've been using these credits. And the thing is, what they're trying to do is help a person get a higher refund, which what most people want. So now when they do these false credits, the person who got the large refund felt as though the person did them a favor. They're like, ooh, my taxpayer cold. They put in some numbers and I was able to get $20,000. Well, could they come back to haunt you because they use these false credits? And now the taxpayers are being targeted because they see that they've used this with multiple clients across the board. And if they used it with multiple clients across the board, helping so many people get larger than life refunds, the tax preparer is at fault. And now they put themselves in a predicament because they were trying to help a person get a fatter refund, which also helps them get a fatter payout because they may be doing it on a percentage basis. And it's a lose-lose situation. Another scam, improper household employment taxes. So taxpayers invent fictional household employees and then file a Schedule H or household employee taxes to claim a refund based on false sick and family medical leave wages they never paid. So they're acting like they got certain employees in the household when they don't. See, the tax code is generous. If you have kids and you're a parent, there are legal ways for you to pay your kids for assisting with your home-based business, and you can pay them up to a certain amount. Let's say it's up to $12,000. It varies, and it adjusts on a year-to-year basis. But say it's up to $12,000, you're able to pay them that. You don't have to do certain things to try to finagle. Use and leverage the tax laws to your advantage. But you got to stay educated and make sure that you're getting information from a reputable source, going directly to the source. Okay, if the tax law is what we're talking about, who is putting out the most information that's tax related? You go down that trail, lead all the breadcrumbs, and it's going to lead to the IRS. The IRS has the most information pertaining to the tax code. That said, probably where you want to get your information. Now, I will say this. It's not always as decipherable, if that's a word, as many people would like it to be. So they would rather hear it in a short, bite-sized piece of information that somebody else can understand or interpret to them. But a lot of times, it's just like telling a story at the beginning of a room. You might whisper one thing to the person at the beginning of a room, but by the time it makes it to the 20th person, it's something totally different. So sometimes the information gets watered down and then people just take it verbatim without vetting it and not knowing that that information is not true at all. Let's keep going. So the overstated withholding scam. This is a recent scheme circulating on social media encouraging people to fill out Form W-2, wage and tax statement, or other forms like the 1099, non-employee compensation, and other 1099s with false income and withholding information. In this overstated withholding scheme, scam artists suggest people make up large income and withholding amounts, as well as fictional employer supplying these amounts. Scam artists then instruct people to file the bogus tax return electronically in hopes of getting a substantial refund due to the large amount of fraudulent withholding. If the IRS cannot verify the wages, income, or withholding credits, and this is a big one, so stay with me. Entered on the tax return, the tax refund will be held pending for further review. Taxpayers should always file a complete and accurate tax return. They should only use legitimate information returns, such as the employer-issued W-2, to complete returns correctly. There are multiple variations of overstated withholding credit schemes, including those involving Forms W-2, W-2G, 1099, all the 1099s, as well as Alaskan Dividend Fund, Schedule K, etc. So, what they're talking about here is sometimes they're overstating their income. And the reason why they would do that, because you might be wondering, why would you overstate your income? Well, if you make it seem like you made more, say you made $40,000. If you make it seem like you made more from these other 1099s, and you made $100,000. You made, $75,000. What it does is position you to be able to unlock more money. What do I mean? Well, if it looks like you made 100,000 when you really made 40,000, and this is not talking about somebody who legitimately did this. This is talking about somebody who's fabricating the numbers. If it looks like you made 100,000, now you get access to more tax deductions and more credits. So, for example, if a person made 40,000, it's a certain amount of money that they can write off before they top out. Well, if it looked like they made 100,000, now it's more numbers and credits you can put in that can run that refund up in the form of false credits and claims and deductions and things of that nature. All because they fabricated more income so they can fabricate higher credits or more credits and tax deductions so they can fabricate a larger refund. Very important. Hopefully that makes sense. Let me know if it do. Misleading offers in compromise. So the offers in compromise OIC program is an important program that helps people settle their federal tax debts when they are unable to pay in full. But mills can aggressively promote offer in compromise in misleading ways to people who clearly don't meet the qualifications, frequently costing taxpayers thousands of dollars. A taxpayer can check their eligibility for free using the IRS offer in compromise pre-qualified tool. So if you ever are in question about certain things, the IRS is creating tool after tool after tool that's pretty powerful. I love the withholding tool. We've taught people how to properly correct their W-4 or use the W-4 to their advantage to increase their cash flow legitimately, but also know what to expect at the end of the year. Are you likely to owe? Based on what you're about to decide to do. Are you likely to get a refund? How much of a refund? Do you want all of it? It gives you those options. So I'm pretty sure this tool is significant as well. I've never used this tool, but if you know anything about offers and compromise, then this tool can help you determine whether or not you qualify. Ghost tax return preparers. This is another scam to avoid. Most tax preparers provide outstanding and professional service. However, people should be careful of shady tax professionals and watch for common warning signs. Now, I'm going to say this. I said it before, but since you made it this far in the video, if you're looking for tax professionals that's not going to be on the scamming tip, helping you legally, ethically, and morally maximize your tax refund if that's what you're interested in, as well as legally minimize your tax liability and answer you the right qualifying questions that can help you, link in the description. So, watch for common warning signs, including charging a fee based on the size of the refund. That happens all the time. That's why they want to get you the fat refund. Because if you get a fat refund, they can say, I help get you 18,000. So my fee got to be 5,000. It happens. I promise you. It happens. That's it. Avoid these ghost preparers who will prepare a tax return but refuse to sign or include IRS preparer tax identification number. So they should have a P10 that's included on there as required by law. Taxpayers should never sign a blank or incomplete return. Instead, the IRS reminds taxpayers to turn to a trusted tax professional for help. Link in the description. Also avoid new client scams and spear phishing. So in 2025, the IRS continues to see the new client scam, which involves spear phishing attempts to target tax pros. Cyber criminals impersonate new potential clients to trick tax professionals and other businesses into responding to their emails. Once the tax pro responds, the scammer sends a malicious attachment or URL that can compromise the preparer's computer systems and allow the attacker to access sensitive client information. So this is for the tax preparers out there. Be mindful of links as well. You're not exempt from getting scammed, because now you click the link and attach it to your personal information of not only just you, your clients as well. So phishing is a term given to emails or text messages designed to get users to provide personal information, and spear phishing is a phishing attempt tailored to a specific organization or business. Tax professionals frequently find themselves a target of this type of scam. Spear phishing holds greater potential for harm because a successful spear phishing attack can ultimately steal client data and the tax pro's identity, allowing the thief to file fraudulent returns using the stolen information. Businesses and individuals, including tax pros, should always be cautious and look out for any suspicious requests or unusual behavior before sharing any sensitive information or responding to an email. Warning signs include poorly constructed sentences and unusual word choices. Be aware that by gaining access to a hacked email account, scammers can locate a genuine email from a previous victim's email account sent to their tax professional. So sometimes they're being real strategic on the type of emails that they may send out and how it may look like it, who it came from, so it looks real to the person. And they said beware of poorly constructed sentences and unusual word choices, but that's part of it. But I think that doesn't matter. In the world of ChatGPT and all this AI, a person can sound very professional in a matter of seconds. So just be mindful. Understand the things that are going on. So Baker's dozen. Watch out for other abusive schemes. There are other abusive schemes, report abusive tax schemes, things of that nature. But those were the dozen that I told y'all would go over in the form of schemes and scams. Share this with somebody who you feel may benefit, because it's running rampant, and scheming and scam is sometimes the quickest way for a person to get money, and a lot of times not get caught, not get seen, because they understand how to navigate in the world of the internet and operate off grid and do different things. So be mindful, beware of these 12 schemes and scams for 2025.